Hey team, back onto pound USD on the monthly. Price action is giving us a new direction, so let's discuss. As usual, on the monthly, looking for area of sensitivity, we see sell sensitivity, we see buy sensitivity, so we identify our monthly zones. Now let's take it down for a closer look. After taking it down to the weekly, again, we look for area of sensitivity, which we were able to identify. So let's identify our weekly zone. So now let's make sense of things. We see our higher time frame push to the downside, higher time frame exhaustion, double confirmation, two waves of sell orders, and a continuational push to the downside. As mentioned in our previous pound USD signals, what really surprised me was that we didn't see an exhaustion at its weekly zone. Price continued to the downside, just giving us a good example as to how much sell pressure is in the market. So here we see that push, price then finally came back for exhaustion, and we see potential continuational push to the downside. So once again, let's go for a closer look. Taking it down a time frame, we've identified our new mid-range zone to help us make sense of things. So once again, we see a push, price found buy sensitivity at its mid-range zone, came back for exhaustion, we now see a continuational push. But what's important here is that price had a clean break of its mid-range zone to the downside. Again, confirmation of strong sell pressure. When we take it down a time frame, here's that exhaustion and here's that continuational push. We also see lower highs, so let's identify our downtrend. Now, in our previous signal, we discussed that once price sees double confirmation, we're likely going long before sellers come back in the market to break our mid-range zone to the downside. We did not see double confirmation. Instead, we saw price break to the downside without making one more retest of this downtrend, again confirming sell pressure. So now we adjust like we always do. So due to this strong break to the downside, it now makes sense to me that price is going to see the sell pressure it needs to make its way to its lower zone, which means we now adjust to a short position. So entry one on pound USD, we're waiting for exhaustion to retest its mid-range zone, then price action confirmation, bearish engulfing candle, significant pin bar to send us down to our lower zone. Your signal is going to look like this. All it's saying is we're waiting for that exhaustion, as mentioned, to our mid-range zone, and then we're looking short. So now, what would make this trade invalid? If price continues without an exhaustion, risk reward becomes less than optimal, this trade becomes invalid. The second movement that would make this trade invalid is if price does come back for exhaustion, but does not find the sell pressure it needs and continues to break its mid-range zone to the upside. That tells me there's not enough sell pressure for the next move to the downside, and this trade becomes invalid.